TALISK. That was tremendous. Just going to start off because Errol's got a question that he wanted to ask you.
Hit us, Errol.
Okay, so how does it feel going up on stage for your job, and do you ever get used to the feeling?
I mean, it is the job that you grow up dreaming of doing, and you never think it's possible. Do you know what I mean? And you get used to it in the fact of, you know, you have to do it. But when you go up every single night, every crowd is different, and you get such a buzz. Every single situation is completely different. We'll play the same music, but it will vibe off crowds differently. So every night feels like a new gig, a new time to be alive, and it's fantastic. You never get bored of it. It's unbelievable.
It's a good question though, because if we ever did catch ourselves getting used to it, we'd have to have a look at each other and go and remember how lucky we are to be doing it. When you're on tour and you know you've got gigs every day for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, you have your routine, like you do literally the same things every day, and then, as the boys say, then you get on stage and it's just like, oh, wait a minute, that is absolute class. Yeah. it's so
First time I saw you, I think, was 2017, Paisley. I think it was Echoes that I heard, and it was a long day, and I was exhausted, and I was feeling a bit deflated, and I was outside church at Paisley Abbey, and I just heard this sound, and I was like, what the hell is that? And I came inside, and it just completely lifted my spirits.
I think through bands' careers, you get some tracks that just click. Do you know what I mean? They become the formation of the sound, and we were just lucky to have that early on. Do you know what I mean? A lot of things come from that, and we changed the sound quite a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We changed it a lot, but Echo, that track, still is in the set every single gig.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's our foundation of music. It builds through we build through emotion and nostalgic memory. Do you know, we want people to be in this sort of like a kind of world of escapism. Do you know what I mean? So that brought us into that vibe of it, and now all the music kind of plays off in mental directions, but that's all
a lot of different directions, and like obviously you're known for having a big sound and for high energy and a lot of fun, but there's subtlety in there as well. There's a lot of quite a variety of emotion.
A lot of the kind of the bits that we come down and volume in each set as well, like they're all quite intricate. And like it's quite like we're lucky that we're best friends anyway, the three of us, and before myself or Charlie joined the band, we played music with each other all the time anyway, and it's just doubled and tripled and quadrupled that time that we spent together because we now are fortunate to be working together as well.
Yeah, I think people forget that music is a relationship. You're not just playing. You're not just playing together. You have to feel each other. Do you mean? You really do. Do you mean? I met Charlie at a TALISK gig. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And from there we became best friends because we had a connection of like we both liked the similar things and similar music.
Yeah.
Like Charlie's music taste is eclectic as hell and unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? But we all meet at this middle ground of trad that we just bounce off. It's fantastic.
I think a lot of people who didn't know you or didn't know your music would be very surprised that it's three people making that sound. And when you say you've worked a lot, the sound's evolved a lot over the years, and it clearly has. And I think when I first became aware of the sort of the synths and the different electronics they were using that you'd incorporated was in Orkney a few years ago. How demanding is it to incorporate those other elements when you're already playing pretty intricate music?
I found it really difficult when I joined the band. I actually rang the boys up and said I can't do it. I was like, I can't do it all.
And we were like, yeah, no worries then.
Because I had to do the kick drum sound with my foot, and then there's pedals and there's different bass parts and stuff. But it's like, I don't know, it's like riding the bike. Once you've got it, you've kind of got it. You know, it's just that accessing that part of your brain that lets you do two different things at a time, or three different things.
I've like by far, I'm not ashamed to admit it, I've got the easiest job in the band.
And it's reflected in his fee.
all he has to do is the merch.
Genuinely, on stage, all I need to do, like I've got like a couple of pedals, nothing bad, like an octave. I click that like maybe once a set, but all I need to do is play my instrument. To be fair, I don't have to do like the stomp box or the vocal processor or the dance pad or any of that. Like I just need to play my instrument, but just as well because that's all I'm good at. So.
It's true, actually.
You realise you could have said something completely different. No one knows.
I know, but I'm an honest guy. I'm an honest guy.
But we know.
How many festivals or lineups do you play that aren't folk and trad?
Trad is in a beautiful state at the moment, where it's moving into quite a mainstream audience. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just a little bit of time before mainstream starts kicking in and being like, we want a lot more. Because you get festivals, I mean, there's a lot of crossover festivals, like Eden Festival.
Yep.
Cambridge is a folk festival, but they try and cross over themselves as well. There's a lot of Black Deer, there's a loads of them, and they're starting to get amazing traction, but because we're all playing them, it's giving us traction as well. So it's slowly breaking out, like we're doing Glastonbury this year. Do you know what I mean? Which is the Avalon stage. So it'll be good fun, but that's like a great, because they champion folk music as well on that stage in particular. Do you know what I mean? So if other festivals start catching on to that by seeing the popularity, with bands like the Elephant Sessions, Valtos, us, all the rest of it, it is starting to become a thing that people are like, it's cool to go to this.
For sure.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It was, we loved it when we were younger, but it was a little bit embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? I loved it and I would never go away from it. We always like,
I'm embarrassed now.
As well, like, I think the fact that every festival like that we've gone to, Black Deer, which is an Americana festival, Boomtown, we've gone with like under the impression like, oh, like we're really glad that we've been booked for this non-folk festival, like to try and like kind of push the boat out a wee bit. We're like, oh, is anyone going to come? And then every gig we've done at those kind of festivals, people have really enjoyed it and like had a great reception. So
shout out to WOMAD, by the way.
Shout out to WOMAD. We were in Australia and New Zealand at the start of the year, and we played two World of Music and Dance festivals, one in Adelaide and one in New Plymouth, and they were two of the best gigs we've ever done.
Third and second.
Honest to God. Honest to God, it was sensational. Third and second, only to tonight.
I have a question, and it is, what advice would you give to any bands or people wanting to start bands?
I think if you're going to do anything, maybe in life as well, not that I'm going to give out life lessons, but if you're going to do anything, you've got to give it 100%, because no one's going to go and book gigs for you. There's going to be hundreds of other people trying to do it at the same time. I'm from like a very musical city, Lancaster in the north of England, the best city in the world, and it's very musical, and loads of my mates growing up played music as well, and I'm the only one that does it as a job now, and that wasn't because they weren't good enough, but it's just having a different drive to be able to say you're going to put 110% into it, because there are you might think that you're the best, and you can think that, and sometimes it is good to think that, but you need to remember there's 100,000 other people who think they are as well, so it's just giving it everything, because no one's going to go and do it for you.
Yeah, and I kind of carry on from that point, because when you are younger you're seeing everybody, and you get very competitive. And there's a really good competitive drive to learn how to be as good as you can be. But then when you get to a stage of starting to come out and play music, you have to realise that no one's against each other. You're all working together. Just because that band had that gig doesn't mean you can't do that gig. It builds it up. Do you know what I mean? Every single person's success leads to everyone else's success together. It's a collective work.
Exactly.
Which is beautiful.
And I would say, in whatever you're doing, like in like making a band, if it's music related, if it's decision related, I think be true to yourself and what you're doing. Music, like see if you're faking it, people can tell. And see if you make a decision that you're not happy with, or you're doing a decision that you're not happy with, like you won't feel right about it. You need to feel absolutely right and committed and just 100% okay with everything you do, like musically and everything else. So yeah, just be true to yourself and what you believe in.
I have to say, a side point, that was quality. That was a beautiful moment. It was beautiful.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good place to leave it, I think. Yeah.
Great questions. Good questions.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Lovely.
No, it's our
Thank you.
pleasure.
Well done, that's tremendous.
It's the best after gig interview I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.